Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel guys. I hope you're doing amazing. I'm happy to see you today for another video, and for this week's video, we're going to talk about les livres et bandes dessinées. What does that mean? Les livres means books, les bandes dessinées means comics. So we're going to talk about everything that is related to those two topics, the vocabulary, how do we distinguish those two, what's the difference between those two, all the vocabulary and everything. Les livres et bandes dessinées. Introduction. Découvrir le thème et le vocabulaire principal, meaning to discover the theme and the principle, the main vocabulary that we're going to be using concerning those two topics. Contenu, that means content. Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler des livres et des bandes dessinées. First question, aimez-vous lire? Do you like to read? If you want to practice on your French writing, you can always answer this question. Tell us in the comment section or on Instagram. Aimez-vous lire? Préférez-vous les livres ou les bandes dessinées? Donc, do you like more books or comics? Do you have a favorite book, a favorite comic? What do you like to read? Do you have time to read? This is an important question. I feel like I'm curious to know if you read and what type of books do you read? Do you know any French book? So yeah, if you want to answer to that question, feel free to do so. So let's start with les livres. Les livres, the books. So now we have the vocabulary. Un livre is a book. Exemple, un roman. Un roman means a novel. It's a type of book. Un livre. Un roman, novel. Exemple, Le Petit Prince. Le Petit Prince is a French novel. You can read it if you want. It's a super great story. We tend to make them read to kids. It's super good when it comes to easy words, simple stories, but it's a great story. So if you want to practice on your French language, I would suggest you to buy this one. Then, if you want to say a dictionary, un dictionnaire. Exemple, français-anglais. It's a type of dictionary. If you want to practice on your vocabulary, this one exists. Un dictionnaire. Then, if you want to say a picture book is un album. So careful with this word because album can has different meanings. It can be for example, a picture book or a music album, for example. We use the same word for both. But an album can be a picture book. Exemple, Max et Lily. It's the one I put on the picture. So it's a picture book when you have simple stories, a couple of different sentences, but you have a lot of pictures. So it's pretty good for kids. Or if you're a French beginner and you want to practice on description, want to practice all the little objects that you can see in the picture, it's super good. So this one too is a pretty good one if you want to practice, if you want to read it for yourself or for your kids, it's a good one. And then the verb to read, lire. Example, je lis un livre. So careful with those two. Lire is the verb, so you conjugate it. Je lis, I read. A book, un livre. Let's read them one more time together. Un livre, un roman. So careful, un roman is not a romance, it's a novel. Un dictionnaire, un album. Now let's focus on les bandes dessinées. Okay, first, if you're new with this word, just know that bande dessinée means comics. Why that? When you see the word bande dessinée and you look at the second word dessiné, if you know a little bit about your French vocabulary, you might recognize the word dessin in dessiné. Dessin means drawing. So when we say bande dessinée, bande is the little band that you have because you know that in comics it's linear. So les bandes dessinées, comics. Let's have a look to the vocabulary. Comic book, une bande dessinée. Exemple, Astérix. Very famous. Everybody loves Astérix in France. It's a good bande dessinée. If you want to say a character, un personnage. So careful. Une personne is a person. Un personnage, a character. Exemple, Tintin. A very famous French character. Same. People tend to read Tintin a lot. So if you want to practice on your French words, French reading, This is a good example. Then, if you want to say a speech bubble, une bulle. Bulle means bubble. So you know that when you read comics, the dialogue is in the bubble, so une bulle. If you want to say to look or to watch, we use the same verb, which is regarder. Regarder, to look or to watch. Exemple, je regarde les images. I'm looking at or I'm watching the pictures. And then if you want to say a comic page, une planche. This is a page with you have all the drawings and the bubbles. Page avec dessin, page with drawings and bulle, bubbles. Une planche. Let's read them one more time all together. Une bande dessinée. Un personnage. Une bulle. Regardez. Une planche. Okay, so the main vocabulary for the books, les livres. We saw the main vocabulary for the comics, les bandes dessinées. Now, what's the difference between those two? How do we distinguish? What are the criteria and everything? First, contenu, the content. When it comes to livre, which is book, it's text only. Juste le texte, just the text. Pour les bandes dessinées, texte plus dessin. Text plus drawings. Lecture. Lecture means reading. Plus longue. Of course, it's text only for the books, pour les livres. So, it takes longer to read it all. BD, plus rapide, faster. Example of books and of comics. Le Petit Prince is a good book, un livre. Astérix is a good comics. Public, livre, tout âge. Meaning, no matter what your age is, you can read books. When we think about comics, which is bande dessinée, maybe tend to be more kids because, of course, there's a lot of pictures, so it's easier for either the parents to show the kids or for the kids to practice on their reading skills. Of course, I'm not saying that adults should not read BD, bande dessinée, go for it. But when you look at the main public, it tends to be a little more kids. Okay, so let's recap. Livre, texte, la lecture plus longue, tous les âges, exemple, Le Petit Prince. Bande dessinée, texte plus dessin, la lecture est plus rapide, the reading is faster, pour les enfants, exemple, Astérix. Okay, I hope that this is useful and learn more vocabulary. Now, I have a little exercise for you just to make sure you guys understood the difference between those two notions, les livres et les bandes dessinées. I wrote you 4 different phrases and you have to tell me if they're right or wrong. Vrai ou faux. We're going to read the phrases together and I'm going to let you decide. Numéro 1. Une BD, just so that you know, BD is the acronym of bande dessinée. Tends to be like kind of long, bande dessinée. So we cut it short by saying BD. Une BD a beaucoup de dessins. Vrai ou faux? Un roman a toujours des images. Vrai ou faux? Une bulle contient le texte dans une BD. Vrai ou faux? Max et Lily est un livre pour enfants. Vrai ou faux? So if you struggle with the vocabulary, feel free to reach to us if you have any question. But this is pretty easy, I feel like. If you have any doubt, feel free to go back on the video, to download the PDF so that you can learn the vocabulary, try to use it. But I think it's pretty easy. That's pretty much it for today's video. It was just a little video just to let you know that, guys, if you are in your French journey and you want to practice for whatever the reason is, which is, for example, it can be for professional, for personal reasons, for immigration purposes, no matter what, the goal is just know that when you learn a language, especially for French, which tends to be a little complicated when you're new to it, practice as much as you can, and reading will help you so much. It's not just about reading the text and, okay, I'm going to see the words, so I know what that means. It's just that if you want to practice, you can clearly see how the phrases are built. You can start easy with, for example, une BD. Like you can start, for example, with Astérix, the one we said, I wrote you some examples. Feel free to start reading bande dessinée. You look at the way phrases are built, and then when you get more comfortable, switch to livres, books. It is so good. You tend to see how the phrases are built, the vocabulary that is used, depending on the book. Of course, you have more formal text than others, and it's pretty good if you want to also, for example, practice on your oral. You can read out loud. It's going to help you to get used to make those links that we do every time in French. It is the best way to learn. So honestly, try to do it. If you have any question, if you want to, for example, get more books names or BD, you text us. We'll be happy to help you. I hope that you liked today's video. If you did, please don't forget to put thumbs up in this video and subscribe to the channel because I'm making video every week. And if you have any requirement, if you want me to talk to you about like a specific topic, something that you struggle about, don't hesitate. Okay? I hope you like these videos today. I'm wishing you all a good end of your week, and I'm seeing you next week for another video. Salut!